Okay, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, and with pranam, please accept my humble obeisances. I'll say some prayers before we start reading chapter 18 of Bhagavad Gita, the final conclusion, and this is called the perfection of renunciation. We are reading from verse 11 today. Last time we did a review and took a lot of questions and many, we were churning actually a lot of realizations from people. It was actually a very nice discussion. So whoever is eager to participate, please pose appropriate questions and appropriate realizations and see if we can churn some nectar out of these verses. I'll say Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Nishbhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakaltarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dina Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Gurve Gaur Chandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol. So before we get started, whoever has any realizations or some questions came later to your mind when you were thinking about what we talked, what we read, let's take those questions and realizations before we get started. Rajni Mataji, did you have a question? Or do you feel comfortable sharing here, or would you like to talk separately? We can do that. Or any other devotees.
Mataji, I'm good for now, okay. But I'll talk to you later offline.
Sure, okay. Okay, yes, Mataji. Let's see who else. Manju Mataji asked some very nice questions last time based on her realizations. So asking questions is actually a sign of, great intelligence. And you can see Arjun is glorified till date today because he's asking such important questions on our behalf. So when we ask questions, we are not only affirming our own faith in what we are learning, what we're reading, but it actually also shows that we are also practicing, because if you're practicing, if you're trying to apply, then you will have some doubts. You will have a lot of doubts actually, whether what I'm doing is appropriate, is this right, is this wrong, should I be doing something this way, what should be my next step. So many questions come, and it is good to clarify those questions that will improve your faith, clear your doubts, and improve your practices, improve your services, actually improve your own mood with which we are doing the services also. So with that, we should not think in this material world. Sometimes when some people ask questions, it is frowned upon or looked down upon as if it's something, it shows their ignorance. But actually, in spiritual circles, asking questions is very encouraged. It's glorified, and it shows that person's advanced intelligence, because they're actually churning this topic in their head and actually coming up with some doubts, because we know that this knowledge is very vast, it's unlimited. And so it will be foolish to think that we know everything. It will be very, very, limited of us to think that a limited person like us can know anything or everything. So, so it shows that we are surrendered, we are submissive, we want to know more. Um, and whatever I know from my understanding, I will share. Whatever other devotees know, they can share, and then we can pose questions too whenever we meet pure devotees, at any occasion or in person. So, with that disclaimer about asking questions, it is very much encouraged in our scriptures. Please, let's see who um, will ask anything that we have read so far from 18th chapter. Okay. You all think about what you want to ask. If not, I'll start asking questions. And we'll see what comes out. Manju Mataji or Puja Mataji or Hema Mataji, want to ask anything? Namita Mataji? Okay, I'll get started and you write down if you have something. Okay, so I'll share this, let me share this document that we made last time actually. We created this Word document that I think will help. Here we go. So this is the points. We actually talked about 4 important points. I will not go into them again because we've discussed this in detail. Krishna is talking essentially about karma yoga when he's talking about the tyag and renunciation. And he's describing to us that we should not give up our prescribed duties. Prescribed duties should not be given up at any time. Rather, we should give up the results. We talked about that what is the definition of success and failure in this world compared to what should be our definition according to the perspective of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is that it should change our perspective. It should redefine some things for us. It should change our stereotypes that we have understood in this world. So that's what Bhagavad Gita does in terms of defining success and failure. So we talked about that. We also talked about extremes. There are some people who think that nothing is in my hand. You will see many people will mention, will say, हमारे हाथ में तो कुछ नहीं है, सब भगवान के हाथ में है, जो करता है ऊपर वाला ही करता है. Yes, that is true. Or there are other people that say everything is in my hand. कि सब कुछ हमारे हाथ में है, हम जो चाहे हम अपने हाथ की रेखा बदल सकते हैं, दुनिया हमारी मुट्ठी में हो सकती है, right, like that. So everything is in my hand, everything is in my control. I am the decider, I control my own fate and destiny and everything. So like that. So these statements are true, but they're only partly true. And Bhagavad Gita changes this also for us. It tells us, Bhagavad Gita tells us, Krishna tells us that these statements are true, but they're only partly true. The situation is neither that nothing is in my hand, and the situation is neither everything is in my hand. It is actually a mix of these two. And we'll talk more about this aspect today. The third thing we talked about is that Krishna is the only enjoyer. This is a fact, because again, Bhagavad Gita changes this also, this stereotype also for us, where we think that we are supposed to enjoy in this world, right? कि जी लो जिंदगी, या फिर all these things की एक ही जिंदगी मिली है, तो we should live it to the fullest. Yes, live it to the fullest, but doesn't mean that you are the enjoyer of that life. And we discussed about who is the real enjoyer and how we get enjoyment. We definitely enjoy, but how do we get enjoyment? The way we get enjoyment is not through bhoga, but through Krishna's enjoyment, which is yoga. So that's the process of yoga. Yoga is not some physical postures, and pranayam is not the only yoga. Physical postures and all that gymnastics is not the only yoga. Yes, to some extent that can control your body, but we know we are not this body. So yes, you can control your breath, you can sit in an asana and all this for 2 hours a day. But yes, that will give you some health benefits, but health benefits are only on the bodily platform. So the true yoga is to connect to Krishna. When we connect to Krishna, when we work according to the will of Krishna for his enjoyment, then actually we enjoy as well. Whereas in this material world, what we are doing is we are doing exactly opposite of all of these things. We are very much attached to the results. We think that when we get that result is the success. Okay. And this definition of results and success is giving us a lot of anxiety and fear in this world. It is causing lack of confidence, lack of self-esteem. Why do people have so much problem, so much lack of self-esteem? The public speaking is a problem, या फिर कोई भी task करने से पहले इतनी anxiety, इतना ज़्यादा tension, इतना ज़्यादा stress. Exam से पहले students को इतना stress that students are committing suicide in India. In a spiritual country like India, students are committing suicide. Why is that? Because our definition of success and failure and giving up the results is not there. And then we are holding on to this extreme that everything is in my hand. ठीक है, या तो लोग ये सोचते हैं कि सब कुछ मेरे हाथ में है, so they become very frustrated, very depressed, very low self esteem, lack of confidence कि मैं तो कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता, I'm a failure, very big on social media कि कैसे इससे बाहर निकलें. The motivational speakers talk about it कि कैसे not to feel that you're a failure. या फिर लोग सोचते हैं nothing is in my hand, everything God did, and so I should blame Lord for everything that happens to me. अगर मेरे साथ कुछ बुरा हुआ है तो वो भगवान ने किया है. So start blaming him, and that's why that they lose their faith in Lord. So all these, so you see what narrative we are getting from the world versus what narrative we are getting from Krishna. So how Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna is changing our narrative completely 180-degree to what the world tells us today. So that tells you how much there is lack of knowledge of Bhagavad Gita in this world, how much demand there is of Bhagavad Gita knowledge. And actually all these motivational speakers, everybody that is speaking, they don't need to make up anything. They don't need to reinvent the wheel. The wheel was already invented by Krishna. We just need to read it. We don't need to research anything. It's already there. We just need to imbibe it and apply it. Then we have been told that we are the enjoyers. We should enjoy every single second of our life. But actually, you enjoy when people serve you. कि हमारे पास नौकर चाकर सर्वेंट्स होने चाहिए तो सारी enjoyment मिलेगी, सब कुछ हमें अपने लिए करना चाहिए, भोग में enjoyment है, right? तरह तरह की भोग की चीजें बना ली हैं, वस्तुएं बना ली हमने, right? So that's how we think that we are the enjoyer, and then we get frustrated, we get angry, we get anxious. But Krishna tells us that I am the enjoyer, I am the bhukta, I am the bhuktaram, right? So and Krishna tells us that seva is what gives you the enjoyment. Enjoyment is not in the result, but actually in the service itself, in doing the service, in self-sacrifice, in working for the pleasure of Krishna, for the pleasure of others. Actually, that work should give you the enjoyment. So Krishna changes our definition of enjoyment also. And then the last thing we talked about is that tyag. This definition also in very distorted in the world. Anybody, when you tell people to take to spirituality, the first thing they ask is, what do I have to give up? What do I have to stop doing? Or मुझे अपना शुद्धिकरण करना पड़ेगा before I can start reading Bhagavad Gita or start doing any spiritual practices or devotional practices. But Krishna tells us in Bhagavad Gita that you just need to get attached to me, right? And get detached, then automatically detachment from the world will come. So this is where we are in this chapter. That renunciation or tyag that we are talking about, it should be driven by the love for Krishna. You don't give up things and then take to Krishna consciousness or spirituality or Bhagavad Gita. You first take to Krishna consciousness, first take to Bhagavad Gita, and then automatically all the other things will go away, right? You don't first get better and then go to doctor, right? Then take medicine. You first take medicine and then you get better. You agree with this point? पहले दवाई लेते हैं उससे ठीक होते हैं या पहले ठीक होते हैं फिर दवाई लेते हैं? अगर ठीक ही हो गए तो दवाई की क्या जरूरत है? So if you already got purified, already got elevated, then why would you need Bhagavad Gita knowledge, right? Some people are like that. Some people are born like this with their previous purification. But for most people, 99.9% of people, they just need to take to the path of spirituality, and spirituality will act like medicine that will purify them of this material disease. So you don't need to give up anything in this world. All you need to do is to add Krishna. right? All you need to do is to start serving, start reading Bhagavad Gita, start associating with devotees, start eating prasadam, and slowly the purification will happen itself. So purification होना, liberation होना, ये सब चीजें तो झक मार के आएंगी ही आएंगी when you are taking the proper medicine या nectar of this spiritual practices and spiritual knowledge. So you don't need to get purified first. लोग कहते हैं कि पहले मैं तो अभी मीट खाता हूँ तो मैं भगवत गीता कैसे पढ़ सकता हूँ, मैं हाथ नहीं लगाऊंगा भगवत गीता को क्योंकि मैं मीट खाता हूँ. No, you read Bhagavad Gita, then you will be able to stop eating meat. It's not the other way that you have to stop eating meat first. How will you get that push, that empowerment to stop eating meat if you don't have any faith, if you don't have any knowledge, if you don't have Krishna's promises, Krishna's instructions? When you don't have that power to push you forward, to propel you forward, how would you be able to purify yourself? That purification will not be sustainable. That purification will be very temporary. So don't just artificially give up things. No, first adapt the knowledge, first adapt the practices in your life, first develop an attachment to Krishna, then talk about detachment. तो इसलिए हमें भी जब लोगों को मिलते हैं, this is for all those devotees that are doing some preaching on their family level or their, when you see people in MSF, don't talk about giving up things. Don't tell people give up onion, garlic, give up this, give up that. No, don't talk about giving up things. It's very hard to give up anything unless you have faith in Krishna and Krishna's instructions. They don't know where they are coming from, where they are going. All that knowledge is in Bhagavad Gita. All you have to do is to connect people to Bhagavad Gita. You don't need to tell them anything to give up. That sounds very, very superficial, artificial. It's very, very temporary. It is not long lasting. It does not help. It actually drives people away from Krishna. And last thing we need to do is to drive people away from Krishna. So by being very, very hard on other people, ye chhod do, wo chhod do, we are actually driving people away from Krishna. Don't tell people ki kya chhod do. Tell people ki kya, ki just connect them to Bhagavad Gita. Just connect them to Bhagavad Gita. Just give them Bhagavad Gita. That is why Prabhupada said ki just distribute my books. Right? That's why we just distribute the books. Just show them by your conduct. Don't tell people kya kuch karna hai, nahi karna. Show them with your conduct. Show them how you have changed, how you have become humble and submissive, how you have become surrendered, how you have so much faith, how you're applying Bhagavad Gita in your knowledge, how your anger has gone away, how your greed and lust and all this has gone away, how you have developed forgiveness and patience and tolerance. Show all that, and that will inspire people. Not your words actually will not do much, right? So we just connect people to Bhagavad Gita, and then Krishna's words, Prabhupada's words will change their heart. But just giving up things artificially will actually drive people away. Anyways, the rules should be applied on ourselves, not on other people. So we should not really apply rules on other people. That is one of the principles of Vedic knowledge. You should apply Vedic knowledge and knowledge of scriptures on yourself, not on others. But since we're talking about renunciation and tyag and detachment, it can be very hard for some people to understand. How can I give up something? No, you cannot give up anything. We don't have the power to give up anything. We can only give up power. We can only get the power to give up anything when we get attached to Krishna, when we get attached to Bhagavad. So with that, we'll start the next round of our verses. So let me just take a pause. Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Vinash Prabhu, Puja Mataji, thank you for joining. Hare Krishna Mataji,
Hare Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Vinash Prabhu. So far, this was our discussion till last time. Just a quick recap, since many people were not here. Anybody has any questions before we move on to verse 11? Yes, Manju Mataji, please.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna.
A quick question, जो बात अभी आपने बोली ना लहसुन प्याज छोड़ने की, तो I just have this personal thought that कि मैंने लहसुन प्याज पहले बहुत खाते थे, अब कम कर दिया है क्योंकि पता भी है कि it is tamasic, it's not good for the body, और but sometimes there are certain recipes where I really feel the urge to use it क्योंकि उसमें taste आता है, और but then I have this कि maybe Krishna will get, like क्या ऐसा हम सोच सकते हैं कि भगवान नाराज हो जाएंगे अगर हम यूज कर लेंगे एक दो दिन, या फिर इसको बिल्कुल ही अगर ऑमिट करना है तो बिल्कुल ही निकाल देना है, फिर दोबारा नहीं कभी यूज कर सकते? तो लाइक समटाइम्स लाइक इज इट अ गिल्ट फैक्टर, डर लग रहा है क्या है, पर हमें पता भी है कि ये नहीं भी खाना चाहिए, पर कभी कभी हम उसका सेवन भी कर लेते हैं। तो लाइक हाउ डू आई जस्टिफाई माई सेल्फ कि इज इट ओके समटाइम्स और समटाइम्स नॉट? इफ आई हैव अ डिनर एट माई हाउस एंड आई हैव लाइक फैमिलीज, तो मेरे को लगता है कि मैं थोड़ा उनके हिसाब से भी बनाऊं, तो मैं यूज कर लेती हूँ लहसुन गार्लिक। फिर जब अपने घर के लिए हम बनाते हैं खाना तब मैं नहीं यूज करती हूँ। तो लाइक उस टाइम पे यूज कर लेते हैं, उस टाइम पे नहीं करते हैं, तो क्या ये सही भी है? क्या इसके बारे में मैं सोचूं भी या नहीं सोचूं, या फिर जस्ट लेट इट बी? लाइक व्हाट इज योर से ऑन
Sure.
दैट?
Yes, Mataji, thank you. That's a very practical question, actually. We have all gone through, many of us have gone through that phase that you're describing. So, Mataji, ideal is, so you talking about fear and guilt, right? You know that on the emotional scale, on the level of emotions, fear and guilt are very low emotions, right? You understand that, right? Whenever we are doing anything out of fear, out of guilt, it's not very permanent, and it's very it's a very low emotional scale, right? We should be doing things out of love. ये बात तो है ना, जैसे हम बच्चों को सर्व कर रहे हैं कि ये एक तो ये फियर है कि अगर मैं इसको नहीं करूंगा तो ये आगे जाके मुझे मेरी सेवा नहीं करेगा, या जो भी कुछ ऐसा गिल्ट है, वो फियर या गिल्ट से नहीं, हम कहते हैं प्यार से करनी चाहिए सब चीजें। तो भगवान की सेवा में तो स्पेशली वी शुड डू थिंग्स आउट ऑफ लव। सो ऐसा नहीं है कि भगवान इज अ वेरी हार्ड हार्टेड मास्टर, ही इज, रिमेंबर, ही इज द मोस्ट लविंग, द कृष्ण प्रेम इज व्हाट वी आर हैंकरिंग फॉर, सो हाउ प्योर कृष्ण प्रेम इज, राइट? And we are his children, so he's not going to get upset or angry. But if we are really serving our deities, if we are actually bhoga laga rahe hain, so then we should avoid onion garlic, because Krishna does not like those foods, right? So we should नॉट सर्व दोज फूड्स। तो अगर आप बना रहे हैं घर में, प्रैक्टिकल बात ये बोलूंगी मैं कि पहले तो फिलोसफिकल बात है, वी शुड डू थिंग्स आउट ऑफ लव। प्रैक्टिकल बात ये है कि अगर घर में डीटीज हैं जिनका की आप सेवा करते हो, देन यू शुड नॉट, भोगा नहीं लगाना चाहिए अनियन गार्लिक का, ठीक है? वो आप अपने लिए बना सकते हैं, उसको भी हमें थोड़ा थोड़ा कम करना, लाइक यू सेड, यू व्हेन यू आर एट होम just cooking for all of you, then you should try to just eat prasadam as much as possible, because when we go out, when we are traveling, या फिर ऑफिस में है या कहीं और, कई बार कुछ खाना पड़ता है which is not prasad, so at least at home we can try to maximize prasad. That way we are feeding our dependents, our husband, our in-laws, या parents, या बच्चे, kids also, prasad, maximum prasad that we can feed will be good, right? That's one. और दूसरी बात, जो लोग जब बाहर से आते हैं, तो even more important, Mataji, to feed them prasad, because they are probably not cooking prasad at home, right? They're not maybe offering bhoga. So you being a spiritualist, actually now here the point, a higher level of emotion comes, not fear or guilt, but a sense of duty, that I have duty towards my friends, that by offering them bhoga, Bhagwan ka prasad, actually this way they're eating prasad. Maybe rest of the time they don't get prasad, we don't have, जैसे यहाँ हमारे इधर तो टेम्पल भी नहीं है, सो पीपल आर एनीवे, जैसे इंडिया में तो फिर भी प्रसाद मिल जाता है, कभी कभी कहीं से आ जाता है, कुछ होता है। यहाँ पे तो प्रसाद मिलता ही नहीं। यूएस में प्रसाद खाना कितना मुश्किल है। लेट्स से जो लोग आ रहे हैं, दे आर मीट ईटर्स या अल्कोहलिक, उनको आपने प्रसाद खिला दिया घर का बना हुआ, है ना, तो और इम्पोर्टेंट हो गया। तो अब फियर और गिल्ट से ऊपर उठ के आप ड्यूटी पे आओ, तो भगवान की सेवा कर रहे हो, घर वालों की सेवा कर रहे हो विद सेंस ऑफ लव एंड ड्यूटी। ये जो फ्रेंड्स हैं, ये भी आपके उसी में आते हैं, तो और इम्पोर्टेंट हो जाता है। एक्चुअली यू कैन शो देम कि देखो हमने ये बिना अनियन गार्लिक के बनाया, कैन यू इवन टेल द डिफरेंस? व्हेन पीपल अप्रिशिएट एंड कॉम्प्लीमेंट, टेल देम दिस टर्न्ड आउट सो गुड बिकॉज इट वाज भगवान का प्रसाद एक्चुअली, and you can also make बिना अनियन गार्लिक के, because look, I did not use any and it came out so good. So when Thakurji decides, when he accepts, it becomes nectarian anyways.
Right. One more question to this. Yes, I totally get that explanation. Thank you. तो मेरे को बस एक वो चाहिए था वैलिडेशन की सही कर रही हूँ ना मैं। और जब मैं पूजा रखती हूँ घर पे, जैसे पूजा जब मैं रखती हूँ, मैं यूजली पूजा ऐसी रखती हूँ, तो ना लोग सब अपना अपना कुछ कुछ बना के लेके आते हैं। तो मैं इनको कभी नहीं कहती कि ना लहसुन प्याज का मत लाना. If they bring something which is like मीठा तो मैं ऑफर भी कर देती हूँ, like it'll be part of the big prasadam, like everything. But sometimes they bring sambar, sometimes they bring chutney, it has garlic, onion. I don't say no to them, but I very respectfully say that okay fine, we are going to eat this, no problem, इसको खाने की टेबल पे रख देंगे. But I don't even tell them कि ना नहीं ये आपने क्यों इसमें लहसुन प्याज, तो I like not allowed. Like I don't want to be rude to them at the same time. So, but I let them bring it also. So do you think I should next time onward say that whoever wants to bring anything, please make sure there's no onion and garlic in it? Should I say that, or should I just let it be?
Yes, Mataji, very nice again. This is a sensitive topic, and we deal this with in all our festivals. So it depends, Mataji, on many things. You would have to use your discrimination about this. You have to see how the other people are. Okay. If you think they will not be offended and are favorable, you can gently one-on-one tell them कि can we are going to offer हर चीज हम भगवान को भोग लगाएंगे, and everybody wants that their food should be offered to the Lord. ठीक है. और अगर आप अनियन गार्लिक डाल के लाओगे ना, हम भगवान को भोग नहीं लगा पाएंगे. आप ला सकते हो, लेकिन I would really like to maximize bhoga for Lord. Is it possible? So in a very gentle, so you don't have to talk. So it depends on how you address the situation, how you talk. Some people are very coming out in a very fanatic. You don't have to ever sound fanatic religious person. If you come across as a very fanatic religious person, that discourages people, that does not inspire them or encourage them. You have to speak in a way that it will be very encouraging and inspiring to them. So you will say, oh, you will make it sound very attractive thing for them to do. जैसे कि आप उनको एक सेवा दे रहे हो और वो सेवा वो नहीं कर पाएंगे because of this limitation. तब उनको बोलोगे देखो हम भगवान को ना भोग लगाएंगे, can you please make this? So you say in a very encouraging, inspiring, loving way because you care for the other person. You come across like that. You don't come across as a rude, uncaring, detached, very fanatic person. That is not the mood of Prabhupada. You have to be very, very connected to the person. और बाकी आप ऐसे कर सकते हो, अगर कोई ग्रुप है हम उसमें जस्ट ऐसे लिख देते हैं, जस्ट जेंटल रिमाइंडर कि प्लीज डोंट टेस्ट द फूड एंड ट्राई टू मेक विदाउट अनियन गार्लिक एज वी विल ऑफर टू द लॉर्ड. उसके बाद भी अगर कई लोग हैं जो बोलते हैं, कई बार फोन करके पर्सनली बोलते हैं कि हमको ये डिश बनानी है, हमको ऐप में नहीं देना उसके बनाने, तो यू कैन जेंटली सजेस्ट, अच्छा फिर आप this will go good with this and you're so good at making that dish, would you rather make that one? ऐसे उनका make them feel important, make them feel nice. Don't ऐसा नहीं कि उनको ऐसे impose कर रहे हैं that makes them feel कि हम तो यहाँ जाएंगे नहीं. Not like that, but in such a way that they actually want to attend and they actually want to do that seva and they actually want to serve your ठाकुर जी. So आपने उनको सेवा में भी लगा दिया, आपने उनके साथ कोई रिलेशनशिप भी ब्रेक नहीं किया, ब्रिज भी ब्रेक नहीं किया, और वो आएंगे भी, और वो आगे से ये बात एक दो बार एड्रेस हो जाएगी तो आगे से बनाएंगे भी बिना अनियन गार्लिक का. इनफैक्ट आपको घर पे बुलाएंगे तो भी बिना अनियन गार्लिक का बनाएंगे कि इनको ये पसंद है. और क्योंकि आपने इस मैटर को इतने लविंग, नर्चरिंग वे में एड्रेस किया है, विद सच अ ह्यूमिलिटी, विद सच अ सरेंडर, as if this is your limitation and they are accommodating your limitation. तो ऐसे उनको, तो आपको ये इंटेलिजेंस डेवलप करनी होगी किससे कैसे बात करनी है. और किसी को नहीं बना तो बोलो आप मीठा लेके आओ, और अगर कोई ला रहा है like you said कुछ चीजों में चटनी वैसा है तो लाने दो. हाँ, but you just don't offer it to the as a bhoga to the Lord. और मेन जो है वो रखो ताकि सबको दिखे कि okay, this has been offered to Lord and then everybody would like to serve. But make everybody feel very special, very, very connected to the Lord, very, very important. Like they are very important part of the service.
Yes, yes.
उनके बिना हो नहीं सकता ये festival.
हाँ, बिल्कुल, बिल्कुल.
वो program में they will be missed. If they're not there, they'll be missed. They should feel like that.
Yes.
तभी वो बार-बार आएंगे and they will get to eat prasadam. They will do the kirtan. They will get to get darshan of your deities, and so you're serving them, but they are also serving you and serving the Lord, and they are getting so much spiritual credit just by serving you.
Right.
Yes, Hima Mataji, you have a question?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. I was just going to share that, that like how you said, like once you start being consistent also, that what your preferences are, like, that this person is not eating onion, garlic or serving, and you kind of share it with your friends, those friends who actually care about you and actually respect you, they come on the same platform. Like at least they'll make an exception when they're meeting you. They might do whatever they want, but I've experienced myself that if I go, they know. Even when I go to my friend's house now, they will say, "Oh, wo to onion garlic nahi khati," So they will separate it out for me. And I actually went to a full feast where they invited our family and they made like 4 or 5 dishes without onion garlic, just because they knew ki ye nahi khati hai. Like that's and yeah, I didn't even tell them. And I was going with a mindset ki I will be eating today onion garlic at their house because I'm not going to say no to them. But they did all of that, and it was really surprising. I least expected that. But that's how people, when you're consistent with it, I think they get the message very clear. And like yesterday, I went to a birthday party and they said, "We especially got an eggless cake because we know you don't eat egg." And I was like, "What?" I was like, it's not even an adult birthday party. And, like, that's how people react when they see your devotion. And I think they see your consistency. And there are people who drink alcohol, eat egg all day long. But they'll step out and take that step for you, if they respect you and, kind of value your friendship. Hare Krishna. I just want to share that.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. That is such an amazing, inspirational point. Yes, very wonderful. So the point is relationship. So relationship रहना चाहिए. Don't break bridges consistently, like Mataji said. You're practicing, so they see your devotion, your consistency. मैं एक example देती होती हूँ. मैंने I think अनीता माताजी से share किया पहले. क्या हमारी एक spiritual circle में एक devotee हैं. वो किसी के घर जाते हैं जहाँ पे बहुत मीट एंड ये सब होता है. मतलब देयर इज अ गैदरिंग दैट शी हैज अ ग्रुप ऑफ फ्रेंड्स जहाँ पे मीट वगैरह खाते हैं. उनके लिए वो अलग से बनाते हैं अनियन गार्लिक का, राइट? बट व्हेन शी गोज, couple of times what she did was look at her humility. Look at this, and this is what we need to inspire ourselves with. Okay, वो उनके जो झूठे बर्तन है जिसमें उन्होंने मीट खाया है वो बर्तन धोती हैं खड़े होके वहां पे. So she's just doing that seva, like everybody's enjoying eating it. She starts washing the dishes. So everybody feels so, they feel, oh my God, she doesn't even eat onion garlic और ये हमारे मीट वाले बर्तन धो रही है. So उन्होंने चेंज कर लिया. इसको जब हम बुलाएंगे हम कोई मीट सर्व नहीं करेंगे आपको, क्योंकि हम नहीं देख सकते कि ये मीट वाले बर्तन साफ कर रही है. So आप किसी को अपने दिल से कनेक्ट करके आप किसी को ह्यूमिलिटी से चेंज करते हो. आप किसी को लाउडली अग्रेसिवली बोल के कभी चेंज नहीं कर पाओगे. तो अगर हम किसी को ऐसे बोल देंगे ना, वो आना बंद कर देगा, वो हमसे डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाएगा, वो दे विल ब्रेक द रिलेशनशिप, दे विल ब्रेक द ब्रिज. और क्या होता है कि जब उनको जरूरत होगी दे विल नॉट बी एबल टू कम अक्रॉस दैट ब्रिज टू रीच आउट टू यू. तो इसलिए we should never break these bridges. These relationships are very sensitive. They're given by Lord to us. So we should cherish them, nurture them, and gently deal with people according to their faith and their understanding, their level of understanding. And just inspire with always your conduct, your humble, submissive conduct. Yes, Anita Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for beautiful answers and, again, giving us, how basically we should handle these situations. I'll just share my experience, like, the things that I have come across during the interaction or situations like how Manju Mataji has explained. So 2-3 things, right? ऐसा होता है कि हमारा ड्राइविंग फैक्टर क्या है कि is it my doubt, is it my fear, and like Mataji said, these are all like low emotion, human emotion, and we have to get above all those things. या फिर हमारा ईगो है, like कई बार होता है कि मेरी बात, and I'm talking about myself, like sometime it is कि अगर मैंने बोला है तो उसको ऐसा करना चाहिए था, because I have been in that place sometime, like नहीं तो ये मेरा बोलना या फिर ये जो है ये सब जो चीजें हैं उसको छोड़ के मेरा मेन गोल क्या है? मेन गोल तो ये है कि सर्विस है, like we have to serve Krishna and we have to somehow make others, like अगर जहाँ प्यार से काम चल रहा है प्यार से बोलिए, जहाँ पे लग रहा है कि अपने बच्चों के साथ अगर कभी डांटना पड़ रहा है तो we can just make them in that way, like किस तरीके से समझेंगे कौन है, like who is our audience, वैसे मतलब कि उनको आप बता सकते हैं. So this is like, I have come across my own experience, and I have been still trying to learn all these things, but yeah, work in progress.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Let's get going. Thank you everybody for beautiful questions and answers also and realizations. Let's get started. Let's read at least 4 or 5 verses today. We'll try to read 3 together. So we're reading Bhagavad Gita 18.11. Please recite after me. Nahi deha brit shakyam, nahi deha brita shakyam, त्यक्तुं कर्माणि अशेषता,
त्यक्तुं कर्माण्यशेषतः
यस्तु कर्म फलत्यागी, यस्तु
यस्तु
कर्मफलत्यागी
स त्यागिति अभिधीयते, स
त्यागिति।
Let's recite 3 together, then we'll please 3 people think who want to read. We can read after that. 18.12. Anishtam ishtam mishram cha.
अनिष्टम् इष्टम् च
त्रिविधं कर्मणा फलम्.
त्रिविधं कर्मणा फलम्
भवति अत्यागिनां प्रेत्या.
भवति अत्यागिनां प्रेत्या
न तु सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्. न तु
सन्न्यासिनां क्वचित्।
One more, 18.13. Panchetaनि mahabaho.
पञ्चेतानि महाबाहो
Karanani nibodh me.
कारणानि निबोध मे।
Shankhe kritante proktani.
सांख्ये कृतानि प्रोक्तानि
Siddhaye sarvakarmanam.
सिद्धये सर्वकर्मणाम्।
Okay. Yes, Agni, you want to read one each and then one more person. 13. Please go ahead.
Text 11. It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has truly renounced. Hare Krishna. Text 12. For one who has not renounced the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after death. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such result to suffer or enjoy. Hare Krishna.
One more. Anita
I-
Mataji? Yes, please read.
O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of those from me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so text 11. So we talked about Tyag. Krishna decided, he concluded that what I care about is not giving up all activities. That is not the mood. Don't give up all activities. What matters is giving up the results of the activities. So actual renunciation is that you perform your prescribed duties. He said, don't give up your prescribed duties, perform your prescribed duties, but do them in the mood of renunciation with detachment, right? And that is better than renouncing the action itself. Then in this verse, he's further supporting this fact by saying that you actually cannot give up the activities because you are an embodied being. You are a deha brith. Deha brith matlab somebody who's taken a body. So a spirit soul has taken this body. Because we are given this body and senses, we will have to do some activities. जैसे शुरू में भी कृष्णा ने बोला था in 3rd chapter also he said कि आंखें हैं तो देखेंगी ही, कान हैं तो सुनेंगी ही, right? बॉडी पैर हैं तो चलेंगे ही, हाथ हैं तो कुछ काम करेंगे. So कुछ दिया है तो बॉडी दी है किसी पर्पस के लिए. ये नहीं कि उसको छोड़ के बैठ जाओ that okay I'm not going to use my body for anything. No, the body, the senses, the intelligence, everything was given to perform some activities, and those activities are called prescribed duties. And you do your prescribed duties that you have acquired according to your, birth or your proclivities, your abilities, your talents, your qualities, your training, right? Those have led to this prescribed activity that you're doing. And before, Krishna has also told us that those prescribed duties are always in conjunction with the in the injunctions of scriptures. Matlab they're not sinful activities. The prescribed activities that you do, they are done according to the scriptures, meaning they are somehow uplifting, somehow helping this world, this community, this country, the people, when you do those activities. So you should not give up those prescribed activities. And he said it is impossible for an embodied being to give up the activities. But what matters is that you renounce the fruits of action. That person is truly renounced. So a true renunciate, a tyagi, is the one who's कर्म फल त्यागी. He says yes to कर्म फल त्यागी. तो एक्टिविटी को मत छोड़ो, काम को मत छोड़ो, काम के फल का त्याग करो, कर्म फल त्यागी बनो. That's a true tyagi, that's a true renunciate. So it is said that is a true renouncer. And I'll open this verse from chapter 3 also, where he said the similar thing, that everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities he has acquired from the modes of nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. तो हम कुछ ना कुछ तो करेंगे ही, कुछ ना कुछ एक्टिविटी तो बॉडी करेगी ही. तो क्या एक्टिविटी करती है, that is in your hands. You can, decide that whether you are doing a spiritual activity, a material activity. Is that activity in line with Krishna's desires? Is that activity helping others? Is that activity like a compassionate act, a sacrificial act for others, or is that activity harmful? Those things you can decide, but you will do some activity. So don't renounce a prescribed activity, an activity that is prescribed according to the Guru Sadhu Shastra. Do those activities, just give up the results. So in तीनों को एक साथ लेते हैं एक बार, then we'll take some realizations. Then the next he says, so those people that are not renounced, so those people that are very attached to the results. So mostly think of, partly we are also attached to some results, but even people that do not have any Bhagavad Gita knowledge, इनको हम typically कर्मीज बोलते हैं, या materialistic people that are not on any spiritual platform. They're just working for their own enjoyment, own maintenance, their money or their family, or even their country or whatever. So they are attached to the results. They are not renounced. For them, there are threefold fruits of action. तीन तरीके के results मिलते हैं. So remember Newton's law, the third law of Newton says that to every action there is equal and opposite reaction, right? हर एक action का कुछ ना कुछ result होगा. वो रिजल्ट, क्योंकि वो रिजल्ट से अटैच्ड हैं, तो फिर उनको वो रिजल्ट मिलेगा. और वो रिजल्ट क्या होगा, या तो डिजायरेबल होगा, अनडिजायरेबल होगा, या मिक्स्ड होगा. सिंस यू आर सो अटैच्ड टू द रिजल्ट, देन कृष्णा इज गोना गिव यू दैट रिजल्ट. सो द रिजल्ट मे बी ईदर डिजायरेबल, अनडिजायरेबल और मिक्स्ड. तो या तो वो अनिष्टम होगा. अनिष्टम मतलब जो पायस नहीं होता, इम्प्योर होता है, जो इनऑस्पिशियस होता है, सिंफुल होता है, अनडिजायरेबल होता है, अनिष्टम. लीडिंग टू हेल, Prabhupada is translated as leading to hell. इष्टम, इष्टम मतलब जो आपको एलिवेट करेगा, जो ऑस्पिशियस होगा, पायस रिजल्ट मिलेगा, डिजायरेबल रिजल्ट मिलेगा, दैट इज इष्टम. या फिर मिश्रम, मिश्रम मतलब मिश्रित रिजल्ट मिलेगा, पार्टली ऑस्पिशियस, पार्टली इनऑस्पिशियस. सो दिस इज ह्यूमन लाइफ बेसिकली. सो अनिष्टम, इष्टम या मिश्रित कोई ऐसा रिजल्ट मिलेगा बेस्ड ऑन व्हाट एक्टिविटी यू डू, इफ यू आर अटैच्ड टू द रिजल्ट ऑफ द एक्टिविटीज. So these are the three vidam karmana phalam. So karm phal ये तीन मिलेंगे फिर आपको. But those who are in renounced order of life, in the second line he says, तो जो अत्यागी हैं, जो renounce नहीं हैं, उनके साथ तो ये होगा, उनको कुछ ना कुछ result भोगना पड़ेगा. They will have to get some reaction to their action, and then they will have to keep coming back to suffer those reactions, right? Whereas the sannyasi or the tyagi, the truly renounced people, they have no such result to suffer or enjoy. उनको कोई result नहीं भोगना पड़ेगा. So they will not get any reaction to their action. Meaning they are truly performing karma yoga, they are truly performing akarma, जिसको हम बोलते हैं अकर्मा. तो वो अकर्मा कर रहे हैं. So at all times our goal should be to do अकर्मा. अकर्मा मतलब जिसमें हम result से ज़्यादा attach नहीं हैं, और हमें कोई हम सब कुछ कृष्णा के लिए करते हैं. Everything is done for the satisfaction of Krishna. So that's the fate of the renounced people. They do not have to suffer these. इसका मैं अभी example भी दूंगी. एक बार एक बार और थर्ड पढ़ लेते हैं, then we'll take some analogies and examples from life. Then then Krishna says, now I will tell you about the 5 causes for accomplishment of an action and learn of those from me. So पहले हमने results की बात की, results we should not be attached to, we should be detached to. Now Krishna is backing up, ठीक है? कोई बोल सकता है ठीक है result तो मेरे हाथ में नहीं है, action तो मेरे हाथ में है, action तो I can do या नहीं? So Krishna is saying, I will tell you that there are 5 things needed to perform an action. So action भी completely आपके हाथ में नहीं है. तो कोई चीज आप कितनी जैसे पिछली बार एक माता जी शेयरिंग की खाना बनाती हूँ मैं तो आई एम वरीड कि उसमें सॉल्ट कैसा होगा, ये कैसे होगा. सो वो एक्शन भी कंप्लीटली आपके हाथ में नहीं है, राइट? उसके भी 5 फैक्टर्स हैं दैट आर लीडिंग टू अकम्प्लिशमेंट ऑफ इवन द एक्शन. तो रिजल्ट तो छोड़ो, एक्शन इज ऑल्सो नॉट कंप्लीटली डिटर्मिन्ड बाय यू. So then what is in our hands and what is not in our hands is the question. So let's understand all this in detail, these 3 verses. Okay, इसमें बाद में जाएंगे. Okay, so first thing Krishna says that it is not possible for an embodied being to give up all activities, right? We know that it is very hard. And we have understood so far from the whole Bhagavad Gita that Krishna wants us to engage in action. He wants Arjun to engage in this war, which is an action, right? He doesn't want Arjun to run away from this war and take sannyas in a forest. He wants him to engage in this action, but fight in such a way that he's fighting for Krishna. Don't fight thinking that, oh, I'm going to enjoy the kingdom, I'm going to suffer the loss or anything. Just forget about the outcome of loss or win. Just focus on the task itself of fighting. And remember that this is a dharma yudh. So since you're fighting a dharma yudh, dharma is determined by Lord. Since this is a war determined by Lord, you can fight this war. So you have complete permission to fight this war. Similarly, when we are doing our prescribed activities, right? जैसे कि हम कोई mother hai, she's taking care of her kids. She cannot say, I'm just going to give up my kids and because they bother me so much, I'm going to get detached and I'm going to take sannyas. No, you cannot take sannyas. No matter what they bother you, that kind of sannyas is in mode of ignorance. No, you have to take care of them. What can you do? A doctor, let's say myself, some others here, you cannot say, okay, there is so much liability, so much stress, I have to get up so early, I have to wake up whole night sometimes, so I have to deal with all these people that are so sick, it is so hard, okay, I'm going to give up. No, but then if all the doctors gave up, who will take care of the sick people of this world, right? So you cannot just give up activities whimsically that you are trained for, that you have the ability for, that you have the proper proclivities and qualities for. You cannot give up those tasks like that. These are prescribed duties that are given in the scriptures, given by our sadhu, Guru Sadhu Shastra. So even aaj ki age may be, when devotees give up something, when they change, they change their job, they give up their job or they cut down their duties, they actually consult other devotees, they consult their guru. We don't do things just whimsically. You ask, do you think this will be good for me, considering my spiritual and situation and material situation, my advancement? Do you think I should do this? So putting everything together, you may come up with a decision. You don't just whimsically run away from things. That's not recommended by Krishna. So you have to do your prescribed duties, but don't be attached to the result. So इसमें एक example आता है, and this example will hopefully tie up everything for you. Take an example. Okay, hold on. Let me just come back, dial back a little. Then Krishna said, if you are attached to the results of the duty that you are doing, then you will get some results, right? You will get good result, bad result, or mixed results. Now think about this situation. There is a soldier, okay? The soldier is given a gun by the government to fight in the war, okay? And he's fighting in the war. Let's say during the war, he sees all this destruction going on around him, all this vidvans going on around him. And he says, I'm going to run away. I'm not going to fight in this war. I'm going to run away. What will the government do with that soldier? He will be court-martialed, right? Is that right? He will be disciplined. He will be court-martialed, probably not be given any more duties. Is that right? So that is a sinful act. That became a sinful act of fighting, of running away, right? Now when he now somebody can say, but with that gun he's killing people. But is that killing authorized by the government? Yes. Is he doing it for his own enjoyment, or is he doing it as a service to his government, for his country? He's doing it as a service, right? If he's doing it as a service, not for his own enjoyment, is this will this give him pious result, impious result, or is it karma yoga or karma? Which one is it? If he's doing it as a service, thinking that this is with detachment, that I'm not killing this person because I hate him or I love him or anything, I'm doing this as a service, as a detachment, as a duty. This is yoga. This is karma yoga, right? Same thing now don't think about government. When we do, our government is Krishna. We are doing everything for Krishna, right? So whenever we do anything in our life's battle, when we fight these battles, we are doing it for Krishna. So that becomes a karma or karma yoga, right? But if we run away from those prescribed duties, that will be very fallen in the eyes of Krishna. That will be very sinful, actually, right? If without any proper guidance, we ran away from our duties. Now, the third situation, this situation, he takes that gun, the war is over, he's living with his family, okay? His neighbor annoys him. The next day he says something to him, kuch ladai ho gayi uski, apne neighbor se. He took the same gun that was given to him by the government and he shot that neighbor. Now, was that a proper use of that gun? Will he be punished? So when he used that gun in the service of the government, he was glorified, he was given medals, बहुत सारे medals मिलेंगे, उसको फूल मालाएं चढ़ाई जाएंगी, glories होंगी, right? चाहे वो जीते, चाहे वो हारे. अगर हार गया तो शहीद कहलाया जाएगा, अगर जीत गया तो medals मिलेंगे बहुत सारे, right? So because he did his duty with detachment, he used that gun that was given to him in the service of the government, he would be glorified regardless whether he lost or won. Is that right? चाहे वो जीत जाए, चाहे वो हार जाए, उसको glorify किया जाएगा, right? लेकिन जब वो छोड़ के भाग गया तो वो भी सिंफुल है. और जब उसने उस गन का मिसयूज किया अपने भोग के लिए, अपने भोग कैसे कि किसी और को मार दिया क्योंकि उसकी किसी के साथ कोई प्रॉब्लम हो गई, या उसने किसी को थ्रेटन किया कि मेरा ये काम करो नहीं तो मैं तुम्हें मार दूंगा, राइट? सो मिसयूज किया, तो वो भी गलत है. तो इसका मतलब काम छोड़ के भागना भी गलत है, काम को भोगा की तरह करना, अपनी इंजॉयमेंट के लिए करना, वो भी गलत है. लेकिन जब काम को एज अ सेंस ऑफ सर्विस, एज अ सेंस ऑफ ड्यूटी किया जाता है, यूजिंग द इंस्ट्रूमेंट दैट इज गिवन टू यू बाय द लॉर्ड, in this case our instrument is our body and our senses, right? Or whatever resources we have been given, whatever talents, abilities we have been given, using them in service of Krishna with detachment. The gun that we have been given to fight this war, when we fight this war with detachment, then we are glorified regardless whether the outcome is good or bad of that action. So that is what I wanted to share about these three. लेकिन अगर कोई अत्यागी है, अत्यागी is that person who came home with the gun and used it for some wrong reason, then that is an atyagi person. He's using the resources, the duties that are given to him as his own enjoyment. He's a bhogi basically, right? So if you're a yogi, you do karma yoga, you do akarma, you do things for pleasure of Krishna, knowing that he's the only enjoyer. If you're bhogi, you do things for your own enjoyment, for your personal sense gratification, and that gives you outcomes, that gives you result like desirable, undesirable, or mixed. Avni Vedi, do you have a question or a realization? Question? Okay. Well, let me see. Is this point so pretty much clear? Yeah, nahi? Okay, let's see. Avni Vedi's question might make it more clear. Yes, Avni.
Hare Krishna. So this question, you had said how if the soldier is killing it, seeing it as a service because he has been told to do so. When it happens where it's not, this is like when it's like he thinks he's doing it as a service, but it's really not, and it's just causing more harm. And in the end, Krishna did not want this to happen,
Yes.
but the person is still thinking that it is a service for Krishna. What would
Yes.
become?
That is a very, very excellent question. Very amazing question. That is actually a very, very subtle point where they brought up. I'll tell you why. Let's say there is in this world, today's world, modern world, why is religion, why is spirituality failing so much? Because of this very point that Vedhi raised. Think about it. Think about all the fanatic, extremists, right? That are killing people in the name of Lord. Ki Allah ke naam pe jaise bhi, I don't want to implicate any particular religion, but what are they doing? They have basically, they're attached to their false ego. They're only, they're not following Guru Sadhu Shastra. They're not following the will of the Lord. They're not following his desires. They have used the religion. कोई भी जो instrument होता है, that can be used in the service of the Lord, or it can be used in your own service. They are using religion in their own service to pat their own false ego. They are using that religion as a आज ही मैंने share किया था actually. You should see that Radhanath Maharaj's video that I shared this morning. They are using religion to build up their arrogance. Religion, spirituality should make you humble, should make you submissive. लेकिन लोग क्या करते हैं, उसके basis पे और arrogant हो जाते हैं. उसके basis पे their mode of ignorance is getting even more amplified. उसके basis पे वो crime कर रहे हैं. That is sinful, right? So Lord knows, your scriptures know, your Guru knows that you are doing it completely against all three of them, against all Guru Sadhu Shastra. So this is a sinful act. So when you think you're basically relying on your intelligence and mental beliefs that I'm serving Lord, but actually you have never read scriptures, you have never really taken shelter of a proper authentic guru, and you're just whimsically doing things in the name of religion or in the name of duty, and actually harming people, doing more sinful acts, that is actually very, very sinful. Actually जब religious लोग ऐसा, spiritual लोग ऐसा करते हैं in the name of spirituality, that shakes people's beliefs from religion. इसीलिए so many people are going away from organized religions because they think that religion divides people. Actually, the goal of religion is to not divide. Its goal is to bring people together, make everybody humble and submissive, not make them arrogant, not make them make their ego puffed up. That is not the goal at all. That is why when Mataji was asking questions कि हम उनको बुलाएं या उनको मना कर दें, नहीं, you have to maintain your relationship. You cannot create divides. You have to deal with people in a very gentle, humble, submissive manner, remembering them that you are their servant. You have a duty towards people, right? That is what a true religion teaches. That is what Lord desires. That is what an authentic guru will tell you to do. So when you take shelter of an authentic guru and proper scriptures, you will see that's what Lord's desires are. So a very nice point, Avedi. Thank you for bringing this up. So हमें अपने अंदर भी देखना चाहिए. हम भगवद गीता पढ़ रहे हैं. Is this knowledge making us humble? Is this putting us in mode of goodness? Is this improving our bhakti, or are we using this to lord over people, to make them feel bad about themselves? Is that what we are using this for? Some people do that. Even Bhagavad Gita has been distorted so many times, right? So many times. Because why has Hinduism failed so much? The Sanatan Dharma, it should be Sanatan, because people have forgotten the meaning of Dharma is to do Krishna's will, Krishna's desires. And this is not Krishna's desires. He keeps saying you should elevate yourself from mode of ignorance to mode of goodness and then transcendental. Or आप नीचे जा रहे हो. With this religion, you've misused it, so you're going downwards actually. What is the point? So that is why we should humility and tolerance. That is the basis of this whole, everything that we are doing, this whole practice. So very nice point. Please watch this video. Very, very important video I shared. Radhanath Maharaj makes this point कि कैसे religion जो है उसको लोग as a knife in the hand of thief use करते हैं, not the knife in the hand of a surgeon. So surgeon कैसे use करता है knife को? बहुत delicately, right? ऐसे वो slash नहीं करता, वो बहुत delicately, taking care of tissue, very, very gently dealing with everything, right? Very, very gently you make cuts so that it nicely, he fixes things, right? That's what a surgeon uses knife for. Whereas a murderer ruthlessly goes through somebody's body, right? तो अगर आप religion ऐसे use कर रहे हो कि ruthlessly you are destroying relationships and killing people's emotions and their, then that religion is like a knife in the hand of a murderer. Whereas if you are like under the proper guidance, a trained surgeon then you're using it in a delicate fashion to actually heal people. You're actually removing their anarthas and their doubts and actually healing them. So it's like a knife. So religion can be like a knife. Thank you, Vedi, for that very nice question. Who else would like to share? I don't think we have much time, so I think we'll just take questions and realizations. Because the next point that Krishna is going to talk about is about the activity, that there are 5 causes of the activities. We can, if you want, we can just read the verses so we know what is coming. I don't think we'll have time to discuss it. Krishna says that there are 5 causes for accomplishment of all action. So 5 causes kya hai, wo padh sakte hain. Let's read this verse. 18.14. Adhishtanam tatha karta. Adhishtanam tatha karta. Karanam cha prithak vidham. Karanam cha prithak vidham. Vividascha prithak cheshta. Vividascha prithak cheshta. Devam chaivatra panchamam. Devam chaivatra panchamam. Anybody wants to read this?
Can I read, Mataji? Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These are 5 factors of action. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Krishna is mentioning 5 things that help the action to happen. The body, where the action takes place. The performer is the soul or the karta. The various senses, the endeavor or the cheshta, and ultimately the super soul. These are the 5 factors of action. For this, I had made this, I'll show you this document. So 5 causes of action: the body, the senses, the soul, our endeavors or our efforts, and Supreme Lord, who's a sanctioner. So isko pehle bhi Krishna actually covered this aspect before in chapter 3 and chapter 5. So we quickly, like in a very brief way, break it into 3 factors. So there are 3 factors in accomplishing an action. The soul or the jiva desires, right? हम लोग क्या करते हैं? What is in our hand? So we were talking about the outcome is not in our hand. The action is also not completely in our hand. But what is in our hand? The desires are in our hand, that I want to do this, right? Then you make an endeavor through your body and with the help of Prakriti. So the Prakriti, the 3 modes of Prakriti, the nature, the body, everything facilitates it. And finally, the action is sanctioned by the Paramatma or the super soul. So 3 factors हैं, एक जीवा, एक प्रकृति और एक परमात्मा. तो जीवा desire करता है, उसके basis पे he starts endeavoring. Okay, the endeavor happens with the help of body and the senses. Okay, with the help of body and the senses, and then Prakriti facilitates it, and Paramatma sanctions it. So, isko for our understanding, what we need to know is that the desire. तो हमारी desire हमारे control में है. तो desire कैसी है हमारी? Is this desire coming from the senses? Is this desire coming from a bodily level, a sensual level, or is this desire coming from the level of from Krishna? Is this desire in concordance with Krishna, or is this coming from bodily level? If the desire comes from bodily level, it will be called a material desire, right? Senses से आ रही है कि मुझे ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए, ये करना है, वो करना है. अगर desire आ रही है from Krishna's desire, if it is in accordance with the will of Krishna, कि ये करना है और कृष्णा को भी ये अच्छा लगेगा, ये ठीक रहेगा, ये सेवा होगी of Krishna and the devotees. So then that is a spiritual desire. So when our desires are coming from a bodily platform, from senses, or from Krishna, that is what is in our hand. So that aspect is in our hand, whether those desires are material or spiritual. Okay? Then whether those desires become accomplished or not depends on many things, whether our body will cooperate or not, whether the Prakriti, the 3 modes will cooperate or facilitate or not, and then finally whether Paramatma sanctions it or not. Okay? Isliye the devotees, they know that ultimate controller is super soul. So ultimate control, they invest in super soul. That I will consult super soul, I'll consult Paramatma before an action. Is this desire a good desire to pursue or not? And then I will examine my desire, my intention before an action. Then only I will undertake an endeavor. then only I will trouble my body or this prakriti to do that action, right? And still remembering that that action may not be sanctioned by the Lord. हो सकता है कि वो कोई सेवा ही हो, वो spiritual desire ही हो सकता है वो भी fulfill ना हो सकता है कि वो भी fulfill ना हो, ऐसा भी हो सकता है. But devotee always thinks Krishna willing, this will happen. Krishna willing, we will go to sadhu sangha. Krishna willing, I will be able to celebrate whatever Janmashtami. Krishna willing, I will be able to keep fast for the next Ekadashi. So outcome we leave completely on Krishna. But I have a desire that I want to fast for next Ekadashi. So I have that desire. Then I start endeavoring towards it. I start making something that is not grain, not beans, right? I'll start making endeavors. It is still possible that somehow the prakriti will not facilitate and I end up forgetting. My body does not cooperate. I forgot that that was Ekadashi that day. Ya fir I by mistake ate something that was grains or beans, right? So it's possible the prakriti or the body or nature may not facilitate, right? But so the action is finally resulted by the Lord. Lord is the controller. If he decides that I want her to have a good Ekadashi, I will be reminded of the Ekadashi. I'll be able to chant my rounds that day properly. I will be able to keep my fast very purely and nicely. I'll be able to remember him very nicely, read some Bhagavad Gita and some verses, and my Ekadashi will be success. So whether that Ekadashi is success or not is up to Krishna, but I have a desire to keep that Ekadashi, and it is a spiritual desire, so I will act upon it. But material desire, I will think many times. I will think, is this desire completely material? What is my intention behind it? Am I trying to do just some kind of sense gratification? Yeah, I'm trying to serve the Lord and the devotees. Is this in line with Sadhu Shastra? I'll examine my motive, my intention very nicely before taking upon a material desire. If I think that I'm holding the higher principle, that even though it is a material desire, but it is good, then I will start endeavoring on it. Right? And then again, Krishna may or may not sanction it, and it may or may not fructify into a good result. So this is the basic of it. I'll just stop here. Let's see any. This doership is a heavy topic because we are so used to, the world has told us that you are the controller. सब कुछ result, पहले तो कह रहे थे result आपकी मुट्ठी में, आप result कर सकते हो. Result भी कृष्णा ने कहा आपकी मुट्ठी में नहीं है. अब आप बोल रहे हो action भी completely आपके control में नहीं है. तो बहुत losing control is very hard. So how do you all feel while losing this control? Yes, Manju Mataji wanted to share something, raising hand.
Hare Krishna. These five causes to the action, the 5 points which you just explained. To this, though, I understand that whenever there's Ekadashi, I know that it is Ekadashi, and I get a reminder from you as well. And I have a desire that today on this Ekadashi, I want to fast. I don't want to consume grains. But you know what? Sometimes I just get carried away, and there are situations where I get hungry and I just eat something. And if kids have left some food in their plate, then I will finish that also, because I don't want to throw it or dump it. Tell mama, I'll talk later. So do I think that it was Krishna's, Krishna did not allow it to happen, that Ekadashi is bar bhi nahi ho pai? So how do I take it? It is not Prakriti is not helping me, or what? I know my desire might not be very strong. अभी इतनी स्ट्रांग नहीं है कि मैं सब कुछ छोड़ के एकादशी कर लूं. मेरे से हो नहीं पाता है. क्यों? मैं पूजा पाठ कर लेती हूँ, सब कर लेती हूँ, बट जहां आती है थोड़ा सा खाने की लिटिल बिट एक रहता है कि थोड़ा सा वहां पे मैं स्ट्रांग नहीं हो पाती हूँ. कैसे काम करने में मैं कि चलो एक ब्रेड टोस्ट खा लेते हैं चाय के साथ, हो गई एकादशी फिर तो. तो व्हाट डू आई
Yes, Mataji, very nice question. तो हम क्या सोचें कि ये कृष्णा की विल है. एक तो आपका ये क्वेश्चन है, दूसरा कि ये ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है. ठीक है, सो पहले कृष्णा की विल पे लेते हैं. देखो, we know that Krishna's will is to keep Ekadashi, right? We know that Guru Sadhu Shastra all say that we should keep Ekadashi. तो वो कृष्णा की विल है. कृष्णा की विल पूरी करने के लिए, कृष्णा के हमारे लव्ड वन है कृष्णा, उनकी डिजायर पूरी करने के लिए हमें क्या करना चाहिए? 100% एफर्ट करना चाहिए, राइट? हमें कृष्णा की विल कैसे पता चलती है? हमें कृष्णा की विल अपने माइंड से नहीं पता चलती, क्योंकि माइंड तो बहुत चंचल है, राइट? माइंड इज गोइंग टू डिस्ट्रैक्ट यू, इट्स गोइंग टू से दिस इज कृष्णा विल. नहीं, दिस इज नॉट. कृष्णा has clarified his will through Guru Sadhu Shastra. He has, through devotees, he has told us many times we should keep Ekadashi. ये कृष्णा की विल है. तो ये पॉइंट आपको अब पता चल गया, ये कृष्णा की विल है. स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर्स अच्छे से हों, ये कृष्णा की विल. अब उसको हम कैसे पूरा करें? अगर आपके बच्चे को कुछ चाहिए होगा, आप उसको लाने के लिए पूरा करोगे ना, ट्राई, है ना? कृष्णा की ये विल है कि ये जीवा अच्छे से एकादशी रखे, तो उसका 100% एंडेवर करना चाहिए हमको. सो स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर्स जो होती हैं, स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर्स में वी शुड गिव आवर 100%. ठीक है? जैसे कि मेरे को डिजायर आती है, जैसे मैं आपको अनीता माता जी का एग्जांपल देती हूँ. अनीता माता जी को डिजायर आई थी कि मुझे भगवत गीता पढ़नी है. ठीक है? उसके लिए सुबह उठ के भगवत गीता पढ़ेंगे एवरी डे, इतने वर्सेस मैं पढ़ूंगी, राइट? लाइक दैट शी कंप्लीटेड. सो जब स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर आए, वो टिपिकली खासकर अगर वो बहुत ही, जैसे एक फैक्ट है, जैसे कि ये तो एक फैक्ट है ना, कई बार कुछ चीजें ऐसी हो सकती हैं, लाइक वेदर ही वाज सेइंग कि वी आर एक्चुअली सपोर्टिंग आवर फॉल्स ईगो, है ना? कोई ऐसी ऐसी डिजायर्स जो थोड़ी एम्बिगुअस होती हैं, जो हम बोल रहे हैं कि स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर है, बट एक्चुअली वो हमारा को उसमें मटेरियल बेनिफिट होता है. कहीं ऐसी भी होती है, कुछ एम्बिगुइटी होती है. लेकिन जैसे एकादशी रखना, भगवत गीता पढ़ना, चैंटिंग करना, ये तो क्लियर कट वो हैं, इंस्ट्रक्शंस हैं, राइट? दीज आर नॉट एम्बिगुअस. तो आप अपना 100% ट्राई करो, बिकॉज यू हैव अ डिजायर टू कीप एकादशी, नाउ यू गिव योर 100%. ठीक है? फॉर अ स्पिरिचुअल डिजायर टू बी मटीरियलाइज, यू शुड गिव योर 100%. और उसमें थोड़ा माइंड को कंट्रोल करना होगा, थोड़ा डिवोटीज की हेल्प लेनी होगी. कैसे हेल्प लेनी होगी? अब जैसे भी हेल्प लेनी होगी, पहले से कुछ बना के रखूं दैट इज नॉट ग्रेन वाला, कोई फ्रूट्स वगैरह कट करके रखूं, या किसी डिवोटी को कॉल कर दिया, या कोई भजन कुछ ऐसा लगा लिया टू डिस्ट्रैक्ट योर सेल्फ फ्रॉम दिस अर्ज, कि मुझे बहुत अर्ज हो रही है. बाकी देन यू ऑल्सो लुक एट योर बॉडीली, वो जैसे कि आई डोंट कीप निर्जल एकादशी, क्योंकि आई गेट वेरी वेरी बैड माइग्रेन. So and Prabhupada did not give that instruction. Prabhupada was very clear that he does not recommend Nirjala Ekadashi actually. So I do not keep that. So in this way you have to listen to your body also. अगर आप रख सकते हो, अगर आपको लगता है कि आप ग्रेन्स के बीन्स के बिना रह सकते हो दैट डे, तो आप जैसे बहुत सारी डिशेस हम आपको भेज सकते हैं. आलू बना लिया, फ्रूट चाट, साबूदाना, है ना, मुरायो राइस होते हैं, बड़े तरह के फ्लावर्स मिलते हैं, कुट्टू का आटा, लाइक दैट. सो मेनी थिंग्स आर अवेलेबल. फ्रूट चाट इज एक्चुअली वेरी फिलिंग, या फिर कोई स्मूदी बना ली मिल्क में डाल के फ्रूट्स, है ना. सो लाइक दैट थोड़ा थोड़ा ट्राई किया, एंड देन प्रे टू कृष्णा कि कृष्णा, आई रियली हैव दिस डिजायर दैट आई वांट टू डू दिस वेरी नाइसली टू प्लीज यू. So please, it's everything is in your hands, so please give me the strength, the mental strength and the bodily strength that I can do it. लेकिन अपनी बॉडी भी देखनी है. तो जैसे अगर बीमार हो, जैसे कोई ओल्डर लोग है, कोई फ्रैजाइल लोग होते हैं, वी डोंट रिकमेंड कि बहुत ज्यादा फास्टिंग वगैरह. फास्टिंग इज ओके इफ यू आर एबल टू, लेकिन हायर प्रिंसिपल इज इन ऑन द डे ऑफ एकादशी. क्यों फास्टिंग करते हैं वैसे? क्यों फास्टिंग करते हैं? ताकि बहुत सारी चीजें, ये सब कुकिंग वगैरह में टाइम स्पेंड नहीं करना हो, राइट? सो दैट वी कैन स्पेंड मोर टाइम ऑन हियरिंग, चैंटिंग. सो यू कैन कॉम्पनसेट, यू कैन डू मोर हियरिंग, मोर चैंटिंग, मोर रीडिंग दैट डे, मोर नाम जपा दैट डे, राइट? लाइक दैट. सो यू कैन डू दोज थिंग्स. तो अगर आप कर सकते हो तो अपना ट्राई करो. अगर नहीं कर सकते तो डोंट हैव टू लाइक गेट सिक और एनीथिंग, बिकॉज दैट्स द हायर प्रिंसिपल इज दैट बॉडी शुड बी एबल टू कीप सर्विंग, right? Because I get sick if I'm doing nirjal, so I don't do nirjal, because then it's no point if you're bed bound and you can't do hearing, reading, chanting, then that goes against all principles. So always the higher principle should be kept in mind. लेकिन yes, pray to Krishna, he gives strength to, और लेकिन जो material desires होती हैं, उसमें हमें देखना चाहिए कितना प्रयास करना है. 100% endeavor की जरूरत है, या फिर बहुत ज्यादा प्रयास हो रहा है and it is going to affect my spiritual life, then devotees don't do that much प्रयास for material endeavors. जैसे कि मैं ये डिसाइड करूं, मान लो आई जस्ट गिव एन एग्जांपल, कि मुझे मन कर रहा है 3 दिन बाद आई वांट टू go to London, just something. Now that is a lot of prayas, because I have to give up my work and my savas and go apply for visa and book a ticket, and ticket will be 10 times expensive. So that is and for what? It's not like कि वहाँ पे कोई बहुत साधु संगा हो रहा है, कोई बहुत अच्छा प्रोग्राम हो रहा है, हमारे गुरु महाराज, कुछ ऐसा नहीं है, जिसकी मुझे घूमने फिरने जाना है. So should I put that much effort into such a completely material desire? नहीं. I should, because I'm causing inconvenience, I'm wasting money, I'm not doing my services, I'm not I'm probably running around doing things for it. So don't put 100% endeavor into such a whimsical desire. So desires are like rivers that come into water. Which desire we should cater to? We should have that intelligence. कि आती रहेंगी desires तो. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, Apuryamanam achalam pratishtam. कि आती जाती हैं desires, आती जाती हैं like rivers into the ocean. लेकिन आपको सबको cater नहीं करना है, कुछ को ignore कर देना है. लेकिन spiritual desires को हम ignore नहीं करते, उनको हम we tend to them, we pray for them, we try to put our endeavor in them. Does that answer, Mataji?
Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Very cool. Would anyone else like to share anything? Mataji, thank you so much for asking such wonderful questions. I know you are asking for everybody also, because not everybody feels comfortable, and we are very grateful to you for sharing these. I have had all these questions that you are asking, but you asking them on behalf of everybody is very, very merciful, actually. So you're doing a great service by doing that. Anybody else wants to share? Rajni Mataji, Poonam Mataji, Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. If you have any questions, and Hema Mataji, Hema Parmar, and Hema Gupta, any of the Matajis, please share. Anita Mataji and Amita Mataji. Okay. All right, so we'll stop for today. Okay, we'll chant one round. Check out the Rubis Chakripa Sindhuveva Chapatatanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namah. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.